Did you know I sing?
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Health Chats Among Friends. My name is Deidre Kindred. I'm a nurse advocate, educator, and navigator. And I have a co-host tonight, Miss Sue.
Hello, I'm Sue Wallace. I'm a certified senior advisor, and I work as an advocate to folks that don't have children in the area, and just need someone to help follow their plan of care.
Awesome. So we got a wealth of knowledge on this call. So I'm super excited to introduce our guest tonight. We have Ron Nevelow with Inspire Senior Care. Say hi, Ron.
Hello.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and share who you are and what you do with us. So we'll start off with the first question. Who is Ron Nevelow?
Oh, that could be going really deep. You want my elevator speech instead?
Whatever you want to share.
Give me the elevator speech instead, because I could go really deep with that one. So I am a licensed clinical social worker and a certified dementia practitioner. Been in the mental health field for over a quarter of a century now. Really love doing what I'm doing and working with seniors in primarily living in senior living communities. That's independent living, assisted living, and memory care.
Wow, that's awesome. And the name
when I'm not singing with my band.
Oh,
so that's
right.
You didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't.
What's the name of your band?
My band is Side Gig. We are a classic rock / pop band.
Oh my goodness. So pop like the 80s?
Oh no, whatever I get them to play. We actually started adding a couple of blues tunes recently. They're like, are we becoming a blues band? I go, no, we're just whatever. It's really reflective of my musical tastes, which are very eclectic, and they won't let me be as eclectic as I'd like to be because most people aren't. And they're like, your fans that come to your show need to like everything, and they won't all like what you like. I'm like, it's such a shame too.
Oh.
So, Ron, where do you play?
That's a good question. The pandemic killed us. We were just getting off the ground when the pandemic shot us down. So we're probably going to be in the Plano Richardson area, since that's where everyone mostly lives. We'll probably be in that area when we get going.
Well,
I don't even have a gig I can advertise just yet. I'm looking for one right now.
Well, you be sure and let Deidre and I know, so maybe we can pop over there.
There you go.
All right.
We're a fun show.
Yes. Well, that's awesome. So it's so great to know about other endeavors that people have going on. But tonight, we're going to talk about Inspire Senior Care. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So Inspire is actually an offshoot of a company that doesn't even exist anymore. But we started, I actually came to Texas. I didn't come to Texas. I've been here all my life in Dallas. I started offshoot of a company back in November of 2015 and started doing memory work in senior living communities. And we wanted to expand into mental health too, since we were using mental health clinicians, licensed clinical social workers like myself. So we split off from that company and formed a new company. And then in February 2017, my partner and I that were running the Texas operations split off from there and formed Inspire. So a lot of people hear Inspire Senior Care and they think of us as home health, but we're not home health. We're actually a mental health practice. So what we're doing is, we noticed that people living in senior living communities, independent living, assisted living, and memory care, were primarily needing people to bring services to them. And if you know a lot of people living in those communities, mental health for them, for many communities, is really just medication. And medication for mental health issues is not considered, through research that's been around for a quarter of a century. Research is really clear the most effective way of treating things like depression and anxiety, which are the two most common mental health issues in these communities, what you would find is the most effective way of treating it is a combination of medication and talk therapy, but they weren't having the talk therapy piece. So we started bringing that into communities. Now, additionally, what we found was that when you looked at brain health issues for these communities, and since given their age range, they're much higher risk for brain health issues, particularly dementia being the leading one. That if you look at that, what were communities doing for them? And the actuality is they were doing several things, but they weren't doing everything. And what they were missing was a piece we're bringing in. And what we're bringing in is this thing called challenging cognitive activities. We do one-on-one challenging cognitive activities with these residents. We do it twice a week, every week, trying to keep their mind as active as possible, because it's one of the 5 things that research is showing to be effective at preventing and or slowing down dementia.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Deidre, now you're supposed to ask that next question. What are the 5 things? Go ahead.
Yes. Oh, I would love to know, what are the 5 things?
So the 5 things in a nutshell, in no particular order, are exercise, which all these communities offer exercise classes and opportunities. Socialization, they all have social activities. What they're calling brain foods, which means in essence heart healthy eating. Right. And that all these communities, for the most part, the foods that you would want to see on there, things like blueberries, salmon, broccoli, spinach,
yummy.
The heart healthy stuff, it's going to be on their menu. So they're taking care of that piece. The 4th one is taking care of their health, physical health and mental health. Physical health, they all have either physical health services, medical health services on their in their community, or they transport them to get there, or they bring people in to provide it. So they all had it. It's the 5th one, the challenging cognitive activities that weren't being handled, or if they did provide it, a lot of them were doing the wrong types, or they were doing them only in group setting because they're not set up to do one-on-one work. You can't run a community like this and provide that type of one-on-one attention. So what we did is we came in, and at no cost to the communities, and it's all being billed through Medicare or Medicare plans, we're coming in and we're providing these types of services one-on-one, where it's like adding another staff member, where we can work with them for a little under an hour, twice a week, every week, for people that need our services.
Wow.
And how do they qualify for your services, Ron?
So what we do is, the first thing is we want to make sure they have the insurance to cover the cost, because we don't want them to have to pay for it if at all possible. So if they have traditional Medicare Part B, they're covered for any of the services we provide. And we provide 3 services. Let me come back to that real quick. Okay. So not only do we provide the brain fitness work, the program that we're doing with the challenging cognitive activities among the key part of it, we're also mental health counselors. So we provide the talk therapy I was referring to earlier. And then we provide what's called professional emotional support. And that means for someone who doesn't have a mental illness, but needs someone to talk to, because there's some changes going on in their life that's very stressful for them. They just need someone to support them. And, like you and I may have friends that we go talk to, but friends expect someone to come listen to them. Professional emotional support, it's a one-way trip. You get to vent to the professional, and they're only there for you. It's really a great deal. So issues such as, when someone moves into a community, if it's the first time they've moved to a community ever, then they're leaving their home behind. And it's the stage of life issue, and the grief and the fear that comes from that, and the stress that comes from that, of scaling back like that. So that's one thing. A second thing is, when you move into a new community, typically you don't know anyone. And it takes a while. It can take months before you kind of find your way. The example I give people is when my father moved into a new community, he actually knew some of the people there. And his first time he came down for dinner, he walked up to a table where someone he knew was sitting there, and he said, "May I sit down with y'all?" And they said, "No, our table's taken." And it was always taken because it was the same group of communities that always ate. He had no one to eat with. And it took him months
wow.
before he found his table of people. They had to wait for other people that were looking that he wanted to sit and eat with. So we helped them with that transition. Third thing that I think we primarily work with is grief. You know, if you look at the age of these people, they're going to be dealing with grief issues way more than you and I would be dealing with them. They're going to have a lot more losses of all different types. And that's not even to mention this pandemic and all the changes it's caused and all the fears and the isolation it's caused. And,
Right.
and that's a use for someone needing, you know, support too. So it's three different things that we're doing. So if you look at that, the first thing we're going to do is if someone is interested in one of those three services or all three, it doesn't matter to us, we're going to verify their insurance. If they have traditional Medicare Part B, they're covered. If they don't, it matters what the plan is and who the company is, whether they're covered, but we hope they will be. Most of the companies are covering the professional support and the mental health counseling. Unfortunately, the only way they're going to cover brain fitness is if they already have dementia, which I think it's a terrible thing that they have this great opportunity to do a preventative program and they're passing it up. Traditional Medicare is the only one that pays for brain fitness if you don't have dementia.
Wow.
And I hope that changes. I just haven't heard of it.
I do too.
Yeah, that would be beneficial, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So once you get that, once we know what the insurance is and if there's going to be any deductible, we want to make sure if there's going to be any deductible that they have to pay, that they're okay with that. We don't collect the co-pays. We're trying to make it to where they don't have anything out of pocket. The next step is we do a two-part evaluation to determine what the issues are, what they're experiencing, learn more about them. If they're going into brain fitness, we'll have our psychologists come in and test them and give specific proof to what issues need addressing that we can work with. And then from there, we create a treatment plan for them, which gets reevaluated every 4 months. But the treatment plan is not a set plan. It's individualized to them, what their needs are, what works for them. And we allow our clinicians to be very creative in what they're going to come up with. And I've heard all sorts of different things that people have done. And I, as a clinician, have done lots of different things. You know, it matters what their interests are and what I, as a clinician, individually could bring to it and what their needs are.
Right. I love it. I love that individualized treatment plan because I can't stand, it's like putting bamboo shoots under my nails when people say, well, this is the group, we're going to put them in this box. And this is how we're going to treat everybody in the box.
Yeah.
You know, so thinking outside the box is so much truer than we realize.
Like, for instance,
the things that you mentioned, Ron, are so real because I have worked, as I said, with lots of folks that have made these transitions, and they think that just immediately when they go into like an assisted living, and especially if they know people like your example said, then they think that they're going to fit in with the group, and that doesn't necessarily happen. So I love the fact that you help them transition into a new community or whatever. So do you go into group homes also?
You know, we, for the most part, we haven't. And I'll tell you why, what that's about. Our clinicians are not employees, they're contractors. Because we're going through Medicare, there's a very thin line, profit line. We got to hold down expenses, and our clinicians are on a fee-for-service basis. They don't want to travel around a lot because we're not going to be able to reimburse them. And they don't want that lost time since they're fee-for-service. So ideally, this model works best when we're going into a community where there's a group of people waiting for our services. Another question I often get is, do you go into people's homes? And the answer is, if they can get to us in a community we're in, we'll arrange with the community to find a room for them to meet with us. And if not, if they're nearby, it's possible my clinician could go see them like at the start of the day or the end of the day.
Okay.
But what we won't do is have them traveling all over the city to see people. That model just doesn't work. It's been tried before in a similar business and it just didn't work. So we're really focused on larger communities. Or
I know
sometimes
that's
not
hard.
that large even where we can do it in.
Well, like I was thinking of the one that I have a client in, and it's a licensed assisted living group home, and there's 2 homes on the premise, so there's more people. Now, it's not like a care center type assisted living, but it does have a number of people. And so anyway, there'd be something that maybe we could discuss.
Maybe.
prior.
So what we typically need is I need about 8 to 10 people referred to us. So I can attract a good clinician, a contractor that's good, because that'll give them 2 days a week work. And then if I have a place that can't give me that, maybe I can find a place near them that can give me like 4 or 5, and the place I'm wanting 4 or 5, and maybe we can piece it together to where they go in the morning to one place, the afternoon in another.
Mhm.
That would still work. I just can't have them going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's the thing that's not work. And I've had some places that were like, well, Ron, we'll let you start with like 1 or 2. And I'm like, I can't, this is their living and they're good. They won't come to do 1 or 2 people, once or twice a week. It's just, it's not going to happen. I wish it was that easy. And it would be if we were able to hire employees, but the model just isn't working. It's just not there. I wish it was.
Well, first of all, I believe it's a great service, because what people don't understand is loss of independence is the biggest thing that can be a stressor.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody loss of independence, and a stroke or a MI or Alzheimer's or whatever change, transitioning from your home that you've been in for 30 years or more to a place that you have to downsize, all that is such a huge factor in stress, and that affects their health and overall quality of life. So the service that you're providing is great, I believe, because we need people that are more willing to come to the seniors that we serve.
And I'll tell you what's interesting, I find, is that when people hear brain fitness, they automatically assume dementia. And I really want people to start thinking that pre-dementia state, that part where it's what's really called a mild cognitive impairment, or MCI. It's where it's not just age related, but that they're slowing down, their functioning of their brain is beginning to become a little noticeable to them. See, what I find with a lot of seniors is they don't know to get help at that point because no one's talking to them about it, or they're ignoring it because they don't want to think it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse once it starts. And usually outsiders don't notice it until it's really bad. And by then it can very easily be dementia. So dementia is progressive, meaning it's going to get worse over time, and we don't have a cure for it. So once you get dementia, there is no rolling it back. The best we can do is slow it down, which is what we work to do, right? But if you can catch it before it's dementia, you can reverse it and you can get them back to normal health. And that's the key thing. So what we're trying to do is get seniors to recognize in themselves, before others even see it, that they're misplacing things more often, or forgetting where they put things more often than they used to, or that when they're having conversations with people, that their ability to think what they want to say and say it is slower than it used to be, or names and faces, which may not have ever been good, are harder than it used to be, or anything along those lines. It's memory, it's focus, it's processing speed, whatever the issue is, and then get evaluated. And to get evaluated, you're typically not going to go to your medical doctor who's going to evaluate you for dementia. That's not really what we're looking at. We're looking for mild cognitive impairment, the earlier state where we can be a preventative program. And if you're in one of the communities we're in, then you can get our services and let us test you. And I love to tell people when the testing shows that it's normal what they're experiencing for their age. And unless it gets worse, don't worry about it and take that worry off them. But if it's not, I want to jump on it and help them do the 5 things that you need to do to get healthy and get a healthier brain.
Well, that is wonderful. I wish that was available to the general public, because that's when the mild cognitive starts to begin, and then they realize they can't do these things, and then they have to move to an assisted living or feel like that's the next step. So the ball has already started to roll at that time. So, but
well, what I tell you, Sue, is that I think there are a lot of people living in independent living that need to get access to us. And I'm trying the best I can to get our services out there. Part of the thing that's holding us back is administrators that are overwhelmed with what they're doing, and
Right.
they just don't want to take the time to consider what I'm offering them and bringing us in. Another part of it is insurance companies that don't want to pay for it. And I've got a community that's filled with people that don't have traditional Medicare and they have an MCI. There's nothing that's going to cover it. And that's a big problem. I wish insurance companies got on the program, because dementia is going to cost them way more than an MCI will ever do.
Right. So true. Wow. So before we end this call, I just want to do a recap on the 5 things.
You got it. So the 5 things are, because I always tell people, even if you can't use our services or don't have access to it, you can still do these 5 things.
Mm-hmm.
So here are the 5 things. The number 1, exercise. That's 30 minutes a day aerobic exercise. If you're not doing aerobic, which means on keeping your heart at an accelerated level without stopping, like basketball or tennis is start and stop. That's not aerobic. Walking, swimming, laps back and forth, that's aerobic. Walking is like the best exercise you can do.
Yeah.
And for people who aren't mobile, if they can move their arms or move their legs, in the air, their heart's going to increase. That's aerobic exercise.
Right.
Working up to 30 minutes a day, every day, it's the number 1 thing experts would tell you to do. Of the 5 things, that's the number 1 by far. Second thing to do, socially engage with other people. Yes. Particularly newer people. Instead of just being with the same group, seek out, like if you're in a senior living community, go meet some new people. The new people are dying to meet people anyway. Right. And because talking to someone new that you don't know, that you haven't talked to 500 times already, is a lot more challenging on the brain. It's requiring more stuff from it. So social activities, social engagement, very good. Third thing is eating the right foods. And for the most part, it's a heart healthy diet. I'd tell you, anything good for the heart is good for the brain. Mm-hmm. The number 1 food, though, a lot of people don't know this, the number 1 brain food is fresh blueberries. Fresh blueberries. Walnuts are also shown to be good. That's a recent discovery. That's another one. Walnuts. Salmon, broccoli, spinach, kale, those are really excellent ones for the brain. But it's a heart healthy diet, really, for the most part. 4th thing is take care of your health. You need to be taking your medications when you need to. And see, for someone with a mild cognitive impairment, they might start forgetting to take their medications. That's the real danger in an MCI, right? Where you start having some real real health issues. So it's seeing your doctor when something's wrong, getting a consult or going to see a health professional, calling them to come see you. There's services out there where nurses will come to see you, right? And taking care of your mental health too. Mental health shouldn't be ignored. This pandemic has shown that a lot of people really struggled not only with brain health, but with mental health. And then the 5th one is challenging cognitive activities. Right. Anything that's going to really work you. Like, for instance, watching this podcast is a cognitive activity. It's not a challenging activity. You're just listening. Now, if you'll take what I'm talking about and tonight or tomorrow, without looking at any notes, share it with someone, that's a challenging cognitive activity. That's the big difference. It's using what you learn and putting it into action to really work your brain. That's the challenging piece. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of fun things. And what I'll tell people when they say, well, what should I do if I'm not in your program? My number 1 thing is learn something new. It doesn't matter what, and it doesn't matter how well you do it. Learn something new. For older adults, I always say technology is my number 1 thing. Because they don't know it well. Most of them don't. It's not from their generation. They didn't grow up with it. So technology is a great thing. And if not technology, go learn a language. Languages are not easy. They're tough, and they're perfect for learning something new,
Right.
but truthfully, learning anything new. It really is. There's actual research showing that learning to knit is good for the brain, and learning digital photography is good for the brain. It's not the subject. It's learning something that will challenge you. Anything new is good for the brain.
Absolutely. Well, this has been great. I see that you have your telephone number up there on the screen. So would you repeat that and also tell us how we can get in touch with you if we wanted to learn more?
So if you want to connect with me, you can go through email. My email is Ron, R-O-N, at Inspire Senior Care. So that's my company, inspireseniorcare.com. So it's a real easy one to remember, Ron at inspireseniorcare.com, or the number on the screen right under my name, 214-563-2126. That's my phone number. You can reach me at all times. Please don't call between like midnight and 7 in the morning. I'd appreciate it. But otherwise, I'll be the one that'll answer. And if I don't have your contact in my phone, I'm not going to answer it. Leave a message. See, scam people and marketers typically don't leave messages.
That's
I've learned
right.
that. So
That's
all you need to do
right.
is leave a message. And if you're for real, I'll be calling you back. I will. It may not be immediately, but I'll call you back. I will.
And I can vouch for that. So Ron, thank you for your time. Sue, do you have any parting words?
I have really enjoyed this, Ron, so much. I just want to, and I will let some of the people that put on our special events through our Tarrant Area Gerontological Society. I think that you would be a wonderful speaker for either, one of our sessions, a summer forum or whatever. So I will certainly get the word out about you. So you can come be expecting a call from them, because they're probably right now planning the next year's events. And so we do a lot in Tarrant County. I'm sure Dallas County does the same thing, but we do a lot, and it's in Tarrant County. It's about it's all about taking care of the client, and so there's not as much competition between groups and things like that. But they probably, I know several people need to know about you, so I will definitely be telling your information.
And I'd love that. We're not in Fort Worth right now. We have 2 communities in Arlington we're working in, but we are currently not in Fort Worth, though we have plans to get in there. We've actually just partnered with Kelch communities nationwide to go into all of theirs. So that's
right. Okay.
Okay, great.
Hopefully we'll be doing that in the near future. And if you have anyone that has, if they need a band for a party, one of these, or if you want to go onto Facebook and check us out, it is Side Gig and then do -Dallas. There are 2 other side gig bands on Facebook. So we're the one from Dallas, Side Gig Dallas, and you'll find my band there. I'm the lead singer. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, awesome. So we'll have to have you back to sing for us.
You'll have to tell us when you're going to have a gig, and we'll come.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Love that, Deidre. So, well, thank you very much from my perspective. I appreciate it very much.
My pleasure. If I can be of help in any way, please call on me.
All right.
And thank you, Ron, for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and educate us and empower us, therefore. So, and I thank you, everyone, for listening in on Health Chats Among Friends, where we bring you reputable resources from your local communities. My name is Deidre Kindred. I'm a nurse advocate, educator, and navigator, and we love helping you become empowered in your healthcare journey. Tune in next week for another amazing chat. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.